Okay, welcome to the tutorial for Introduction to Revit 2019. Here's your open screen, which has the recent files. First up, any files that have been opened previously, given this is the first opening of the program. It's got some sample files in there for us to have a bit of an open and play with. Feel free to open them up and explore. Down here we have some families as well. We'll explain and learn more about families throughout the course. Under the Learn tab we have a few bits and pieces. The What's New will take you off to the Autodesk website, and we can have a bit of a read through and see just what's new compared to the previous version. So we can go through and have a look at all of this information. The help that is available on this website is really good. There's a fantastic amount of support here for looking up information, answering our questions, things like that. We've also got essential skills videos and the getting started video. So it's the getting started video that I want you to watch, and I will be continuing based on the fact that we've already had a bit of a look at the interface and explored by watching the Getting Started tutorial. It's on this site, and just being familiarising yourself just with the interface of what Revit looks like when we open it up. Okay, so having had a look at the Getting Started video, let's have a bit of a play around with Revit. We're going to start a new Revit model file by selecting New. It'll bring up a dialog box asking you what template to use, and we'll be using the architectural template. We're going to be creating a new project and select OK, and that will open up Revit into its drawing screen. When Revit opens for the first time, you'll notice that it is in ground floor as a view. This is the project browser. You can see that ground floor is bold. That'll let us know which view that we are in at any time. And we've got our properties menu here, and across the top is all our different tabs that are available to us. Returning back to the architecture tab, first thing we're going to do is draw in a wall. So the wall button up the top here has two parts. The top part is just the architectural wall, the default wall style, which is the one we'll be using. And you can see the settings. We're going to be drawing a basic wall, double brick 270, 8 meters high, and we'll just pop that right into the middle here. And I've just picked on screen. I'm moving my cursor across to the right hand side of the screen. I'll go across 10 meters and pick again. You can see there that the wall is following my cursor. Getting ready for me to pick again to continue. So at this stage I'll return to modify, and that finalizes and finishes that command of doing the wall. So that's a wall, and we can actually see that wall in a 3D view. So right up the very top of our screen here we have a little dog kennel. It's actually our default 3D view, and if I select that view, it'll take me off to a 3D view where we can see the wall. And in picking on that 3D view, you'll notice here that it's opened up another tab across here. We can return to the floor plan view, so we can pick back on the 3D. We can toggle between the two different views depending on which way or where you want to be. You can also go back and double pick here, and that will bring you back to that ground floor as well. Next thing I'm going to show you is how to zoom. So zooming in on making that all bigger, on screen. When you scroll your cursor in and out using your mouse, you'll notice you are scrolling the view in and out also. The trick with using this is where the actual cursor is placed. If I bring the cursor over to this little section head and scroll, it'll go into that point and highlight and bring that closer to us. Scroll back out again. I rest over the wall and scroll in, and it'll fill the screen with that. This also works the same in 3D. So on our 3D browser, I can scroll in and scroll out, bring my cursor over to the level indicators, and wherever the cursor is where I'm scrolling the zoom in and out. Returning back to the floor plan, the next one I'll show you is pan. So if I zoom into the end of this wall and I want to view through to the other end of the wall, I can press down the scroll button, hold it in, and move the mouse across. This is called panning. You can see the little icon that appears on screen, and as you move your mouse around, it's showing you whereabouts it's going. Let's try that in the 3D as well using pan. So holding the scroll button in and moving your mouse around pans you around a view. It works in all views. So scrolling in, panning across, scrolling out, panning across, scrolling in. Gives us good control of where we are on screen at any time. That's using pan and zoom. Okay, the next one is in our 3D objects. We can zoom backwards and forwards, we can pan, and this time I'm going to introduce a command called orbit. So what we need to do to orbit this view is to hold down the shift key on your keyboard, and then using the same as what we do for pan, pushing the scroll button down, and you'll notice the icon that's come up on screen there, and as you move your mouse backwards and forwards, we are orbiting that model around. Gives us a free flow look of where we are, how to turn the model around to look at it from different angles and different directions. Again, I'm holding down the shift key on the keyboard, I'm holding down the scroll button, and I'm moving the mouse. To have a bit more control of that, we can also use the view cube. The little view cube up here is terrific. If these corners, if we select onto one of these corners, it'll take us to that view as an isometric view. I can pick on all four of these corners and it'll just continually to move our building around. I can look at the front view of that wall, can scroll in to fill the screen with that wall so we can see it, and we can move around in all different angles and views to see which part of that modelled object that we are needing to look at. Okay, so that's using scroll as zoom. We've used pan, we've used orbit, and we've had a little play with the view cube. If you press on home, it will return you back to the isometric that we first started with. Let's have a look at adding a window. So I'm going to return back to the floor plan view, and from up on that architecture tab, you'll notice there's a button which is called window. I've reduced it on my screen a little bit, so you might see a full button and we can just rest on any button to get a little bit of a preview as to what the command is all about. Selecting a window, you'll notice a little circle with a cross through it. So windows are pretty cool. They have to be hosted by a wall. Unless there's a wall there, you cannot place that window anywhere. So picking on screen is not going to achieve anything. So if I bring that down, as soon as I hit the wall, you'll notice that there's the window is appearing, and it's just sort of hovering around waiting for me to click to place that window in its location. Return to the modify to cancel that command to finalize. And we'll go to 3D, have a look at that window using scroll to zoom into it. Notice I put my cursor on the window first so I could zoom to it. We can go to the back and have a look at that window from the other side. Notice the frame is on the this side of that wall. So there's that window in place. You can actually put windows in this 3D view. Let's do that. So select a window, and again you'll notice the circle with a cross through it, indicating that you cannot put in a window because it's a hosted element. It needs a host, and the wall is actually the host for the window. Place a window and place another window. Yes, they are just going in randomly. And returning back to the ground floor, you'll see those windows have all appeared. Notice that the windows are, some have their frames on one side and some have them on the other. When you select the window, we get a little flip button that pops up, and we can flip these windows backwards and forwards as we need to. I'll leave the middle one on that side. Okay, so that's how to place windows. Now we can place doors. So selecting a door, and the same thing, we've got a circle with a cross indicating that we can't place a door without it being hosted by a wall. So place that door in the wall, and you can see that it cuts the hole. You don't need to trim the wall up, make holes in the wall to put a door. The door will make its hole itself. And go to modify to finalize the command. We'll view that door in the 3D view using pan and zoom. Use the view cube to spin around to the other side to have a look at it. I'm going to hold down shift and the scroll button and move the mouse around so it can free. Note the clear glass in the windows, a solid door. So I can return back to the floor plan to see the door and the windows, and the door can flip as well from one side to the other. You'll also notice there's two flips for a left hand or a right hand swing door. So we can adjust the door as to which direction it wants to go. Last thing I want to show you in this tutorial is about changing that door to a different type. So when you select on that door, you'll notice here your type selector that we've got, the door comes up. That's the size of the door. So this door family, which is M single flush, has got multiple different sizes. So if I select the biggest one, which is a 915 by 234, you'll notice that the door will change size. So it's now a bigger door. So we can change size of our doors. If I go back to the door command, and this time I'll select the size door first and then place it and modify to finalize the command. So we have the same type of door family and different sizes within that family, and we can flip those as we need to, and all of these items are in 3D as well as in the 2D floor plan view. So that ends the tutorial.